So if the question is about the benefits of zakat, okay, there are, as I told you, that there are two types of question from the topic of zakat: the way zakat is practiced or zakat is carried out, and the second type of question is that how it benefits mankind, how it benefits an individual, and how, yes, benefits or importance are same. Importance is something else. In the importance we have mentioned three things: that it has been mentioned 32 times in the Quran. We have mentioned in importance, we have mentioned that it is mostly mentioned with the prayer, so it shows that it is next to prayer. And in the importance we talked that Abu Bakr fought against those who refused to pay zakat. This shows the importance of zakat, so we will write benefits as a separate. So whenever we have a question about benefits of zakat, initially write an introductory paragraph. Okay, write an introductory paragraph at the beginning, that zakat is the pillar of Islam, and the same way we have written the introductory paragraph in the way zakat is carried out. Okay, जिससे उसमें हमने लिखा था कि zakat means to increase, to purify, it means to bless, and zakat is the pillar of Islam, which is a financial worship and which is obligatory on Muslims who possess amount equal to nisab. Okay, it was made obligatory in the second year of Hijrah. So give a brief introduction. Fine. First of all, give an introduction of zakat. That in the introduction, write the meaning, write the definition, and then importance of zakat. That it's mentioned 32 times in the Quran, and then you can identify that repeatedly it has been mentioned along with the prayer. Mostly it's mentioned with the prayer. And other than that, Abu Bakr fought against those who refused to pay zakat. So first of all, give a brief introduction of zakat in your answer. Fine. Then you can mention that zakat brings a lot of benefit. Okay, it has several benefits in the Muslim community. Okay, it brings a lot of benefits, and some of its benefits are individual, some of its benefits are communal and social, and some of its benefits are economic and financial. So zakat is that worship which benefits in different ways. What are the spiritual benefits of zakat or the individual benefits of zakat? Here you can identify that zakat is a source of purification. Zakat, it purifies the heart and it also purifies the wealth. Okay, it purifies the wealth and it also purifies the heart of a believer. So this is how zakat benefits. According to the Quranic verse, Holy Prophet peace upon him has been commanded, take zakat from their wealth in order to purify them and sanctify them. Okay, take zakat from their wealth to purify and sanctify them. Okay, you have to mention in your answer that take zakat from their wealth in order to purify them and sanctify them. So their wealth would be purified and their wealth will become clean and pure. Okay, the first benefit is that it purifies the wealth of a believer. Okay, it helps them get purification, they get themselves purified. In the same way, it purifies the heart, okay, from the love of wealth, from greed, and from miserliness, from stinginess. So it purifies the heart of a giver. It purifies the heart of a giver from the love of wealth, from greed, and from miserliness. Miserliness means stinginess, कंजूसी से. ठीक है, तो दिल से माल की मोहब्बत ख़त्म होती है, दिल पाक होते हैं लालच से, ठीक है, बुखल और कंजूसी से. In the same way, it also purifies the heart of receiver. It also purifies the heart of a receiver from hatredness, from jealousy. Okay, it also purifies the heart of a receiver from hatred, jealousy, enmity, okay, envy. So this is how the heart of a giver and receiver becomes clean and purified from such type of bad characteristics. So zakat is a source of purification. Okay, it's a source of purification for the person's wealth and also a source of purification for the person's heart. Fine. The second benefit okay, which is related to the individual benefit, is that the way zakat benefits an individual, that it inculcates the love of God. Okay, it purifies the heart from love of wealth, and it inculcates in him the love of Allah Almighty. The person spends his wealth and helps the other person just because of Allah's love. Okay, because of Allah Almighty, because Allah Almighty has ordered the person to help him from the wealth which Allah has bestowed on him, which Allah has blessed him, the person with it. So he spends his wealth for the help and support of the needy and the poor person. So this is how we can say that it's a blessing for both the giver and the receiver. Zakat is a source of blessing. Okay, it's a source of benefit for both. Okay, you can also mention that zakat, fine. So zakat is a source of happiness, and it's a source of blessing for both the giver and the receiver. So both giver and receiver, they get benefits from the payment of zakat. Okay. Another thing that you can identify in your answer, that zakat, the person who pays zakat, he has been promised with great reward. Allah has promised a great reward for the one who spends his wealth in the way of Allah Almighty. Okay, this has been described as one of the basic quality and a characteristic of a believer. Okay, this has been described as a basic and a distinguished quality of a believer. Okay, in the Holy Quran, Allah has described and identified some of the qualities of the Muslims, that they are those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah. Okay, they are those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah Almighty. This is one of the sign of a believer. Allah has promised great reward for those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah Almighty. Those who pay zakat from their wealth, they have been promised with great reward. Here you will quote a verse, Quranic verse. Okay, the verse is, the parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a grain of a corn. Okay, the parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a grain of a corn, maize. Okay, corn or maize, corn, corn. The parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a grain of a corn, and it grows seven corn, seven maize, and each corn has 100 grains. Okay, each corn has 100 grains. This is how Allah rewards them so many times multiplied. Okay, Allah rewards them so many times multiplied. So the parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like the grain of a corn. It grows 7 years, 7 corns, and each corn has 100 grains. So this is how Allah rewards the person so many times multiplied. So the reward that has been described by Allah Almighty is too much for those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah. Okay. So with one grain, Allah has rewarded the person with 700 grains. Okay, it depends on the person's sincerity, it depends on the person's purity of his intention. So the more the person is sincere and pure from his internal intention, so it will bring a lot of benefit for a person in this life and also in the hereafter. So you can talk about the reward that has been promised by Allah Almighty. So zakat is a source of blessing. Fine, zakat is a source of blessing for a person. It increases his wealth. Fine. With the payment of zakat, the person also gets himself relief from one of the basic obligation. Since zakat is one of the basic obligation in the person's life, with the payment of zakat, the person gets himself relief from one of the basic obligation, and he feels mentally relaxed. The person feels mentally relaxed by performing one of the basic obligation. He feels mentally relaxed and feels himself free from a basic obligation which he has to perform. That was the verse which I have quoted, that the example or the parable of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah is like a seed of grain which grows seven spikes, seven corns. Each spike is 100 grains, and Allah multiplies His reward for whom He wills. Okay, according to the Quran, take zakat from their wealth in order to purify and sanctify them. So zakat is a source of purification, and it is also a source of blessing. Fine. In the same way, zakat develops generosity. Okay, instead of, it removes uh, miserliness and stinginess, and it makes person generous, which is a good quality for a Muslim. According to the hadith of the Holy Prophet, every day two angels come down from the heaven, from the sky, and one of them prays for the blessing for the one who spends. O Allah, compensate every person who spends in your cause. And the other one, the other angels, prays for the destruction, that O Allah, destroy every miser, bakhil ko, कंजूस को. Miser means जो कंजूसी करता है. So the person gets himself he get rid of the love of wealth. Okay, and just because of the love of Allah, he spends his wealth in the way of Allah Almighty. Okay, the person becomes grateful to Allah Almighty with this zakat. Okay, Allah has blessed him and bestowed him with so much of Allah's blessings, so he consider it his duty to help the poor and the needy, those who deserve. Okay, those who are mustahiq, and those who deserve his help and support. And in the same way, the person can show his gratitude to Allah Almighty. So zakat, this is how zakat is very much important for a Muslim. You can even mention that because of the payment of zakat, the person protects himself from the wrath and the punishment of Allah Almighty, because such people have been warned by Allah Almighty, those who do not spend and those who do not pay their zakat. Allah hath mentioned it, announce unto them a grievous punishment. So those who do not pay zakat and those who do not spend their wealth in the way of Allah, announce unto them a grievous punishment. A grievous punishment. Such people have been warned by Allah Almighty with that terrible punishment. Fine. In the same way, zakat brings a lot of social and communal benefits. Fine. How? Because it develops brotherhood. Fine. It it bridges the gap between the rich and the poor. Fine. Because they are the two extremes of the society, which are the poor and the rich. Okay, elite and the lower. They come close to one another. Okay, the rich, they, because of love of Allah Almighty, they spend their wealth to help the poor and the needy. Okay, and this is how the poor, they realizes that the rich are very much concerned about their about them, and they are helping them, supporting them. So this is how they come close to one another. So it eliminates the gap between the two extremes of the society, the two between the rich and the poor. Okay, this is how this is a source of social bridge. Okay, and it brings the rich and the poor together. Okay, the rich become more aware and careful about their responsibilities towards the poor, and while the poor who receive zakat have enough funds to minimize their sufferings, which in turn help them in thinking positive about the rich. Okay, they started thinking positive about the rich, and this will eliminate envy and jealousy and hatredness against the rich. Okay, and this creates a positive attitude towards them. They start thinking positively about such people who are helping them and providing support to them. Okay, so zakat also brings a lot of benefit to the society and community in a way that it reduces the crime rates from our society. Okay, it reduces the crime rate. Okay, because most of the problems and the most of the crimes in our society is due to two reasons: due to poverty and illiteracy. Due to the poverty and illiteracy. So, with the effective implementation of zakat, these two problems could be solved. Poverty could be removed and it could be reduced, and illiteracy can also be reduced because people will get enough funds, enough money to send their children to school and get them educated. So, this is how there will be less crimes like uh, theft, robbery, bribery, and such type of the evil practices could be reduced from the society. So this is how we can say that zakat, it improves the social condition of the people. Okay, they can have a better living standard. Okay, because of the effective payment of zakat, a small portion of wealth, it gets transferred from rich to the poor, and their social condition becomes better. Fine. This is how they can have a better life. Their living standards can be improved, and there will be a decline in the criminal activities. Fine. In the same way, zakat brings a lot of economic benefits. Okay, because zakat, effective system of zakat, it circulates money, and because of the circulation of money, when money circulates, because of the circulation of money, the wealth increases. Okay, the value of the wealth increases with the circulation of money. When wealth is circulated, its value gets increased. Fine. And a small portion of wealth will be transferred to the poor, and their financial condition would be improved. They will be able to start their small business. They will be able to fulfill their basic needs, okay, which are required. So it leads to the equal distribution of wealth amongst the members of the society. The rich will not become further richer, and the poor will not get further poorer in the society. So this is how again it's a source of financial and economic benefit. Another reason for its that how zakat benefits the economy of the country is that zakat, because of the effective system of zakat, it eliminates poverty from the society. Okay, poverty, how it eliminates poverty from the society? Because of the circulation of wealth, it promotes job opportunities, it creates job opportunities. Okay, it fosters and it promotes investment. Fine, it promotes investment, and because of investment it creates job opportunities, and because of job opportunities unemployment could be reduced, and this is how poverty could be eliminated from the society. Fine, so these are the benefits of zakat, economic benefits. Okay, that zakat is the backbone of financial system. Okay, it is a backbone of the financial system. With the effective implementation of zakat, okay, with the effective implementation of zakat, our economy can become stable, and the country can prosper, and the living standard of the people living there could be further increased. Okay, and there will be no more poverty in the society. In the same way, zakat can stop and eliminate the interest system from our financial system, because zakat, it is there to help the poor and the needy. When poor and needy, they will be able to get help, financial help and support from zakat. They will not take loans from banks on heavy interest, okay, which will result in the decline of the interest system from our society. Most of the people, they are compelled to take loans on the interest because of their poverty. So when they will be able to get their help, financial help and support in the form of zakat, they will not be dependent on such type of conventional banking system, those who are charging heavy loans. This is how it will curb and eliminate the interest and riba from our financial system. These are the things that can be identified in your answer about the effective system of zakat, and that how zakat can bring a positive change in the Muslim society. So whenever you have a question about it, how zakat benefits individual and how it benefits a society or a community, so this is how you will write the answer for such question in a proper way.